Hi, it's Faye from FayeJohnson.com. This is the second video in which I'm talking about plant allies. So if you haven't watched the first one, it talks about what plant ally is and why you might want to work with one. So go and check that one out before you listen to this. But if you can't be bothered, then just listen to this one. That's fine. So how are you going to go about finding a plant ally? I was talking about it in the other video. I was really fortunate in that I had this wonderful opening to plant consciousness and the spirit of plants when I owned a flower and herb farm. Because think about it, every day in the growing season, I'm out there, I'm with the plants. I'm actually spending more time with plants than people. So that kind of sensitivity was really opened up in me. And the way to do that for yourself, most of us live in an urban environment. Some of us have large gardens, but most of us have small gardens, or we might have a little outdoor area, a terrace where we might be able to have a pot plants. But oftentimes the only thing you'll be able to have is a little plant inside your home. And so the way to go about that, if you can't get to a wonderful garden centre, I'm sure you can order plants online actually, but also you can find stuff in your supermarket. Look after a herb plant and then you get to eat it, you get to connect in that way. So there's so many different ways that you can make sure that you are connected to something green and growing in some way. Obviously the ideal is to be able to grow your own bits and pieces and get some seeds and transplants and really start growing and really connecting with a plant right from the time it's very tiny to the time you might want to harvest it and watch it grow. So that's the ideal, and anything in between just gets you one step closer to nature. And maybe if you're chronically ill and in a hospital bed, people can bring you flowers, or you can just work with drinking herbal teas and flower essences, and even lovely space clearing sprays with aromatherapy oils. That kind of thing will connect you to the spirit of plants, and that's what we're talking about here. When we're talking about plant allies, we're talking about the spirit of plants. We're talking about these wonderful plant divas, these vibrational essences that plants carry, and they're actual conscious beings that are connecting with us. So that's what we're talking about here. And so how can you, you surround yourself with plants, you can take walks, you can take a walk in nature, you can hang out with trees, you can notice wonderful plants that are growing on your doorstep. And the best way to do this, really, to connect with plant consciousness, is it starts really when you feel your way rather than think. So what you want to do is you take your awareness down from this headspace, which is chitter-chatter, which is thinking, which is on a certain level, and we want to really, really sink into the heart space. And that's the resonance that plants are connected to, and that's how they will connect with you. It's through the resonance of your heart. And if you think, what on earth is that all about? Well, just think about it. Just think about when you are, we talk about being in somebody's personal space, being very, and you kind of, if you're a little bit too close to someone, you kind of feel it, you kind of sense it, and that's because you've stepped into the kind of force field, if you like, the field of their electromagnetic field of the heartbeat. Okay, and that's the area that we're going to fall into in order to connect with the plant, the plant spirits, the plant consciousness that we're after. So in order to experiment with this, then I would recommend you hang out with a plant, you go for a walk in nature, somewhere that you really like walking, or even if you're in a city, this can be really challenging, but it can bring out some amazing results. What you want to do is take a walk and sink into this heart space. So you want to get out of the chitter-chatter mental mode. And obviously, if you practice some kind of meditation or mindfulness practice every day, this really helps you train your mind to be aware of those thoughts and really get yourself back to an anchor. And the anchor in this case is your heart. So if you want to walk along with your hands on the heart, just to bring that awareness there, then you can do that. Also, what I really like to do to make sure I'm in this heart space is actually I like to hum a tune to myself, because that helps my chitter-chatter mental brain just shut up and slow down. It's getting a bit windy. And so I like to sort of walk along humming. And what we're going to do, what the exercise really to get to know, to find a plant ally, is to really check out what is happening in your peripheral vision. So you can see me waving my hands, and I can actually see my hands just kind of like you can see them in the camera. You can see something. When you see something out of this peripheral vision here, this is the plant that is calling to you. This is the plant that is trying to catch your attention. So for me, if I was on a walk and I could see a plant out of the corner of my eye, that wouldn't kind of leave me alone, that would be my cue to go over and check in with that plant and just see what that plant's got to say. You might find that there's a plant that you see everywhere on your way to work, or a beautiful tree that you always think, wow, that's amazing. Or you might find there's a particular colour of flower that you just keep noticing. Well, that would be the plant that wants to hang out with you, that has a message for you, that has wisdom teachings that are going to really serve you. It might be something weird that you be talking about herbal teas one day, and then somebody mentions a particular herbal tea, and you go, oh, okay. And then the next time you go and you see a magazine, you see that advertised, or somebody else mentions it, or you see something on social media about this same herb or plant. That kind of thing can happen too. So I always like to watch out in conversations, are these kind of omens, if you like, in our modern day world, because that is plants talking to us. That's them trying to get our attention and want to work with us too. So if you have a plant at home that you absolutely love, then go and choose that one and hang out with it, and see if it wants to work with you. And otherwise, definitely go for a walk in nature, check in with this heart space, and that's how you're going to find your plant ally. And what to do when you get there? Oh my God, what do I do with a plant? You sit and you breathe. There's so many different exercises that you can do and techniques that I teach in my workshops, but the main thing is to sit and breathe. Breathe into this heart space, breathe with the plant. As you breathe, you're breathing in oxygen and you're breathing out carbon dioxide. That plant needs that carbon dioxide in order to function and operate and turn this wonderful sunlight into matter and grow. And then it's going to give off oxygen, and in turn you breathe that oxygen. So just sit with the plant and enjoy that relationship, breathing. That you can have a little mantra. I like to teach, I breathe you, you breathe me. As you breathe in, I breathe you. As I breathe out, you breathe me. That's a really simple mantra to do. It's a really simple breathing technique to do. So go find a plant, one that is calling you. Breathe with that plant. Breathe with that plant for 10 minutes. Sit and watch that plant. Sit and be with that plant, just like you had met it at a party. Then you're like, oh, hello. Sit down. Breathe. And just think about what you would do. How would you connect with a plant? How would you connect with a person at a party? You'd introduce yourself, and then you'd listen, and then you'd watch them. You'd watch how they were sitting. So with the plant, you're going to watch how it's growing. You're going to just observe around it. You're just going to marvel at it, because they are so marvelous when you start looking at them. You'll be amazed when you start really, really looking. Put that ego aside about what you think you know, and really start looking at that plant. Looking at how it's growing, and how does it grow in relationship to others, and how does it look? Does it look on form and healthy, or does it look a bit down? And just sit and breathe. And that's really all you've got to do. And the more you do that, the more you open yourself up to the possibility that these green beings have wisdom for you, can help you and support you and guide you. That is where the magic is going to come in. That's where the transformation is going to occur. So that's what I encourage you to do. It's really as simple as sitting and breathing, opening up into that heart space, okay? So enjoy, and if you want to find out more about this, then go to fayejohnson.com. Okay, bye.